Hey everyone, welcome back to another video today. I am going to be recording some battles from the Summer Cup. This cup was new as of, I think, 2 days ago. This video I think is coming out on Saturday though. I'm posting it. I think I'm scheduling it instead of posting it because I'm recording this late at night on Friday. But anyways, we're going to be running a very strong team. Though Tactical's top 5 teams had this on it. It is the UNOVAN Stunfisk, Araquanid and Noctowl. So Noctowl, a pretty meta pick for this cup. Obviously, yesterday all the videos with the double rock teams kind of pushed it out of the meta a little bit, but it's still, this team performed very well, and I think I went 4-1 like 3 times, 3-2 one time, and then the other set I was trying out a different team. So let's get into these battles. UNOVAN Stunfisk in the lead, very solid. If you have a bad lead, you just switch into your Araquanid. It's going to be your safe swap. Try and get the electric type on your Araquanid, and then you get to hopefully sweep with Noctowl. That's kind of how the team comp goes. But neutral lead, I'm going to stay in here and maybe look to swap later. I let this body slam go. It could have, I think, been a bulldoze, but if that was the case, I just get to the second move and then farm down with one of my backline mons. But here I have 2 moves, and I'm going to throw 1 mud bomb. I could contest for switch here. I'm just going to keep my move stored, and my opponent comes into a Noctowl after I safe switch with my own, which means they don't have a electric type or a rock type, which is nice. Double normal team so far, which means there could be a Pidgeot in the back, or something else. The Noctowl mirror, pretty standard. You just throw these sky attacks. If you want to shield, you can. This sky attack would most likely be taking out my opponent, so he is going to let it go though, and I would die from a sky attack here, but I'm actually going to shield since if he swapped into Noctowl, he's either got a Pidgeot in the back or he's weak, and with the fact that he comes in Vigoroth here, he's making me think that my Noctowl is going to be valuable here, so but he does have Pidgeot in the back, and my Araquanid has no play. He has shield advantage. This game is over, but I have a move stored on UNOVAN Stunfisk. I just don't have a move stored on Noctowl, so even if I can get to the Bubble Beams here, they would have to shield whatever this is, and Bug Buzz would not do anything. Bubble Beam not going to do anything. So this game is over. I'm just going to get this other Bubble Beam off here, and then really the only... Yeah, I don't think there is a win con here. I come in Stunfisk maybe and get to the discharge, but they actually switch and we simultaneous KO. So I'm going to lose the first match in this video, even though I've had a very successful day. Poliwrath is pretty neutral. Having Mudshot though is not that great, and my opponent switches Galvantula into a ground type. You do you, bud, but there's no Pokemon in the entire game that is a ground type that Galvantula has a winning matchup against. And definitely not against Mudshot U-Fisk. I don't even know if he thought I had Thundershock. It'd still be a horrible matchup, but gonna let these lunges go, farm up so much energy. I'm at 100 right now, pretty much. And I'm gonna throw another Mud Bomb. I probably throw one more Mudshot. Oh no, I get him low, and I'm just gonna safe switch Noctowl here. My opponent has a Molga in the back, so he has Poly Double Electric. It's a pretty nice team comp, but it's not gonna be good enough because I'm gonna get to the Shadow Ball here, and my opponent probably won't shield this, knowing I have a Stunfisk in the back. He doesn't shield this, but Araquanid is such a good counter to Poliwrath because you resist every move, right? You resist Scald, Dynamic Punch, Ice Punch, and even though you're hitting for resisted, the stat product of Araquanid is just so strong, so good. You can debuff your opponent's attack. There's really just nothing that the opponent can do here, so I'm gonna throw this discharge, and my opponent lets it go, not knowing what's in the back. The smart play would be to shield here, but there's really no play for my opponent here. And I'm just going to let the Scald go through, does nothing, and we're going to be able to get to a Bubble Beam. And at this point, my opponent should just concede. The writing on the wall is very clear. But he's going to keep fighting, so I'm going to let this one go too. Go for the 2 shield flex. Another Scald, not going to do much. And we're going to farm down. And he's still fighting, so keeping the 2 shields for Emolga. I'm going to shield up this aerial ace. Going to shield up this aerial ace. And at this point, the game is over. I'm going to get to this Bubble Beam. I'm going to stunt on them. Throw this Bubble Beam. This Emolga has 1 HP left, and we kill through the shield. Always a very satisfying play, watching the opponent's shield and die anyway. If you guys didn't know, every charge move, even if it gets shielded, does 1 damage worth of HP. So if your opponent is at true 1 HP, then they will die through the shield if they shield something. Pretty cool if you didn't know that, but yeah, that's how we're going to take that win. Next game, my opponent has a Heracross lead, so this is neutral. Gonna stay in for the time being. And I shield up a Rock Blast bait. So now I'm just going to build up and catch what hopefully is a close combat. I imagine my opponent's going to bait and then throw the nuke, and he does, and he switches pivots into Talonflame here. So I'm just going to farm up right before he gets to that 3rd Incinerate and throw the Bubble Beam. There's no point in throwing earlier because they would just get more turns through. And at this point, I think I'm going to let this go. Braveford's fine. I can do a lot in the back with the debuff defense, but no, my opponent just flame charges, and he actually could have gotten to a second one, but he elects to overfarm. Probably go for the farm down. I'm not entirely sure. And since he's going to be going for the farm down, I'm going to get to a 3rd Bubble Beam. So my opponent definitely should have just thrown the 2nd flame charge before I got to the 2nd Bubble Beam, because he would have taken a lot less damage, and his attack would not be so debuffed. Because look, he's double debuffed with math. You know, 1 attack boost minus 3 debuffs is double debuffed, and then now he's single debuffed. The single debuff move is still going to kill me, and it all comes down to what my opponent has in the back. It is a Diggersby, and he has the Heracross in the back with minimal HP, so this is going to be an interesting end game. Obviously, Noctowl does have the advantage here against Diggersby, unless they have Hyper Beam, but I don't think my opponent threw enough mud shots for this to be Hyper Beam. It is just Fire Punch, and at this point we're in a great spot. We're going to get both the shields with the Sky Attack, but we do have to watch out for the potential sack swap. This is a CMP tie, which is nice, because now I can just overfarm comfortably, and I even have a sack swap of my own, so we're just kind of playing a game of chess here. When is the other person going to switch? And I'm going to throw all of this energy onto the Diggersby after my opponent throws the move, because now I can switch after the charge move comes through, and I don't have to worry about getting sniped. And my opponent makes a pretty dumb failed catch, and I'm just going to be able to farm down, get extra energy, get 2 Sky attacks, and this is going to be GG. And we're going to take out the Diggersby with a shield left, which definitely could have been used, but my opponent just had so much energy when he died. We have another Vigoroth lead. This is slightly losing. Noctowl is very neutral, and then Araquanid beats it pretty hard. So we're just going to stay in here, maybe try and catch later, just like last time. And I get the 3rd shield glitch, so my opponent's body slam that he throws ends up being fully undercharged. It doesn't do 0 damage, it just does fully undercharged damage, which is like probably 5 or 10% of what it should do. So obviously very fortunate to get that, and that's really the only lag that I've had go in my favor today. My opponent does make a nice catch on Wigglytuff onto this Mud Bomb. Gonna be able to soak it up very nicely. I'm gonna throw 4 here, throw the discharge. This might be stupid because now there's a chance I don't get to another move, but at this point I'm gonna come into Noctowl, and I probably throw immediately because it's good timing, even though I'm getting the move right away, And my opponent isn't at a move yet, so they're going to have to shield if they want to get any energy off on me. And I'm just going to use a shield of my own. My opponent can't get to his second move, so I'm just going to be able to load up on energy and save a shield for whatever my opponent has in the back, and it is his own Noctowl. So I'm going to build up right before the 2 sky attacks. Going to be able to get both of these off just because I was so ahead on energy. And my opponent's going to let the first one go. He could let the second one go. I probably wouldn't, but you could. He does, which is very nice for me. And at this point, I'm just going to come into Stunfisk, try and get to any move. And my opponent throws right away, which is very nice for Araquanid. I'm just going to be able to shield once, farm down, and then be able to debuff this Vigoroth. Probably take this matchup pretty easily, unless somehow my opponent gets to the second sky attack, and he doesn't. At least I assume. 2 body slams isn't even going to kill, so I'm just going to debuff him. I think at this point, since he's debuffed, 3 body slams doesn't even kill. And I might be able to farm all the way down and just guarantee that my opponent doesn't get to a move. And I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. I don't think 2 body slams, yeah, 2 body slams isn't even going to kill. And now I can just throw the Bubble Beam on the Noctowl, and this is going to be enough to kill because it's at such a low health range. So another good game. Noctowl in the back, a little bit tricky, but we kept it away from Araquanid, and we're going to be able to take that match very cleanly. And I think this is the last battle of the first set. This is a very long video. I'm sorry about that, but actually, no, I'm not sorry about it. You guys deserve a longer video. You can watch however much of it you want. So 3 sets worth of battles. I guess at this point I can spoil. Every set is a 4-1. In this video, I left out the set where I'm at 3-2 because I experienced a bit of lag, and it would just make the video very long. So in this video, 12-3 is going to be the record, right? Yeah, and then overall it was 15-5. So very successful with this team. It helped me climb a lot of elo, and I'm probably going to keep using this team during the cup, and hopefully I can climb more with it. I come in Noctowl against this Dugong because if they're running a Dugong lead, a lot of teams run ABB style, so I'm going to get ahead on the Noctowl because I feel like they're going to be weak to it in the back. And knowing that it had just thrown its Icy Wind, I knew that I could farm it down before it got to another move. So just pretty good game awareness here. I actually catch the Bubble Beam on the Jellicent, and my opponent is just core broken by a Noctowl in the back. My opponent has Leaf Tornado, doesn't get the debuff, and that's probably going to be cementing himself a loss. Noctowl against Superior and Jellicent, you just can't do much, especially when the Jellicent is running Bubble Beam and not Ice Beam. Makes it a pretty tough situation, so definitely should run that team like an ABB, maybe pivot into the Jellicent as the safe swap to try and get some Bubble Beams out, but you're not really trying to lure anything out for the Superior, so team makes a little bit of sense. You're just very weak to flyers in the back. Normal flyers like Noctowl and Pidgeot. So we're going to be able to take a very commanding victory, and this is going to be a GG. And able to get my level 43 quests, get the 20 battles in the Go Battle League, which theoretically doesn't make sense because you have to win 30 battles in the Great League, 30 battles in the Ultra League, and 30 battles in the Master League, which is already 90 battles. So the fact that you have to do 20 GBL matches, any league, and you don't even have to win, is just like, it just doesn't make sense. It should be like 100 or 150 or something, right? Because then like you can still win 30 games in all 3 leagues, and you should only have like, yeah, you could have like 120 or 130 games and get those 90 wins, but you'd have to be an incredible player. Anyways, we have a another neutral lead. I think Vigoroth was the lead, or some normal type. But my opponent comes into Ferrothorn, and we have Araquanid. I'm not actually sure. I think he responded to my Araquanid with the Ferrothorn. And I'm actually going to be able to take him out with the debuffs. Yeah, Lickitung. Lickitung is a pretty rough lead, just because Diggersby is weak to the Power Whip. And Lickitung has such amazing stat product that Diggersby just gets soft-walled by it. And I needed really to win switch there, and I do, because my opponent actually called the bait, and he got bug buzzed, which is pretty devastating for him. But at this point, with my Noctowl, I'm just going to take these body slams. I can take 3, I think. I can very easily at least take 2. And then I can get these sky attacks off onto the Lickitung. Opponent shields the first one, which is kind of weird. Because either I can shield and get to another one, which I am going to do, or yeah, or I could have saved the shield, which probably would have been smarter looking back. But it is what it is. My opponent has a Zoomerl now. If he has Hydro Pump, this game's over. If he has Ice Beam, I think he could just get the 2 Ice Beams. So he has Ice Beam 1. I'm going to throw 4 at good timing, throw this Discharge. I'm going to have to get to another one here. If my opponent is 1 bubble away from the Ice Beam, this is not looking good. And he is 1 bubble away from the Ice Beam. And I just don't think we're going to be able to take this game here. The bubble doesn't go through, which it shouldn't. I'm going to throw this move immediately so I don't take any bubble damage. And my opponent comes in with the Lickitung. And I get to the sky attack. Don't ask me how. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea how. And the Ferrothorn had 1 HP. So we're going to be able to wing attack that Ferrothorn down. I had no business winning that game whatsoever. But we're going to take it like a freaking champ. That was the craziest battle that I've had in this cup. Maybe one of my craziest battles ever. Just in terms of, I had a true 1 HP. So, one more lick, if my opponent got to a body slam and I somehow had a 3rd shield, anything would have killed me. A tickle, a gust of wind, a piece of loose hair, probably would have killed me. So, that was a crazy battle, and yeah, definitely the craziest one of the video. Anyways, next battle, a very, very tough lead with a Venusaur, so I'm going to safe swap Araquanid here. Really outside of the flyers, there's no hard check to a Jellicent. And my opponent threw a Bubble Beam bait as the first move. You comfortably win all shield scenarios with a Shadow Ball, just straight Shadow Ball, so I don't know why he's Bubble Beaming here because I'm not shielding anything. And since he's Bubble Beaming me, I'm just going to throw Bubble Beams back. He's giving me the opportunity to debuff his attack more, which really helps for whenever I bring in whatever Pokemon that I'm going to use in the back. I'm going to be able to load up so much energy against this Jellicent, and I'm going to come in with Noctowl because he has Venusaur, and if he's not super strong against Noctowl in the back, then he's just going to lose. And he probably will because he's already double weak to Noctowl in the lead and in the safe swap. So I'm just going to catch here, keep this energy. Maybe Shadow Ball can do some damage in the back because Noctowl does have nice coverage. And I'm just going to sacrifice the Stunfisk. My opponent is throwing the Frenzy Plant, which makes sense, I guess, because you can farm up a bunch of extra energy, but yeah, my opponent doesn't, which I think would have been the smarter play. So I'm going to come back in here and take out the Venusaur, and yeah, my opponent has Walrein, so this is not looking too good. Maybe I can get to 3 Sky. I just don't think there's any way. My opponent just needs 1 spear. He's like already at another one, yeah, and he catches. To add insult to injury here, it's just beating me while I'm down, and if he could have maybe given me a chance to win, I don't think so. I think he actually, I think when I was playing that game, I thought he had one less shield than he did have. So that's why I kept playing that game out. But yeah, that's a pretty hard L that we're going to take. My opponent has, in this next match, a Alolan Marowak in the lead, which is very difficult to handle. Very difficult to handle a UNOVAN Stunfisk with an Alolan Marowak. And so he pivots into Swampert, a non-Shadow Swampert. So Araquanid is just going to feast. And actually Noctowl would have a pretty good matchup here too, because you can actually healthily survive 2 Hydro Cannons, which is crazy. But I'm going to throw some Bubble Beams against the Alolan Graveler, which is in the back. And if you look at this guy's team comp, he's just simply double weak to ground. I mean, like, I guess ground types aren't allowed technically because of the subtyping. It's because it's an electric type. But I was thinking like Gliscor or something, but Gliscor is not in this meta, so. And my opponent even farms up extra, stays in this matchup just to throw a Fire Blast. And I was kind of assuming that he would have Fire Blast, so I shield. And I'm not going to be fooled today. That'd be the only potential lose con, which Noctowl's tank, so I probably would have been fine, but, you know, whatever. Alright, Swampert, very tough lead, so I'm going to probably pivot into Araquanid. This is my hard answer, which I'm just trying to get the electric type out, and he does have the electric type in the back. I'm going to throw a bait here. I'm actually not at the Bug Buzz. I'm just assuming my opponent doesn't know his counts, and he doesn't know his counts, which is huge. And I'm just going to let this go. With the debuffed attack, watch this. This discharge doesn't kill. I live a Volt Switch. I get to the Bug Buzz. And at this point, I either 2 shields up, or I have 1 shield up and switch. My opponent no shields the Bug Buzz. And this game's just over. A little bit of an energy advantage with Swampert. It actually is a little iffy though, because this is a Shadow Swampert, which means a Hydro will do over 50%, unlike the regular Swampert. If this was a regular Swampert, this game is over. Shadow Swampert does over half to a Noctowl with Hydro Cannon. That just shows how busted the move is. But we're going to shield up the second one right now. And we're going to throw the Sky Attack right away. And my opponent makes a nice catch with Araquanid. So this is... we're doing pretty good here. I need 2 moves because Araquanid is just such a beast. It's already tanked 1 super effective move. 2 super effective moves. And it's in the red still. It's still alive. It's still alive. It just took 2 super effective moves. And it's not like they were bubble beams. Or power-up punches. He just took a Sky Attack, super effective Sky Attack, a super effective Discharge, and he's still living. Araquanid is such a beast. And he lives on Mud Bomb, which is resisted. But he lives that with 1 HP. And we get to the Mud Bomb against the Swampert with extra energy and take it out. Araquanid is such a beast. I'm telling you guys, it is nuts. Really, its hardest counters in this cup are going to be like Pelipper. Even Talonflame has a good matchup against with the fire typing. Pelipper though, Noctowl, Pidgeot, going to be the hardest counters to Araquanid. Other than that, you pretty much have play against everything. Azumarill, you have play. Alolan Marowak, you have play. Jellicent, you have play. Pretty much everything. You've play against a lot of it. Even the electric types, you have play with the bug moves. So, but getting into this match, my opponent has Vigoroth swap after, I forget what he had in the lead. I've been rambling for a lot of this battle, but actually my opponent probably could have farmed me down, but he switches into a Galvantula to take this move for no reason at all. And I could have gotten to the move before he kills, but I'm just going to load up, probably throw 5 more mud shots to throw the move before he gets to the last one. And, oh wow, I'm actually just going to go for the farm down. That's crazy. And just store all this energy for the Pokemon that he has in the back. Yeah, this is a this is a pure domination. This game was over before it even started. I don't remember what he had in the lead. I think it was Alolan Marowak, maybe, but I'm just holding onto the shield for God knows what. I think I'm going to Bug Buzz the Vigoroth. Actually, I think at this range it just needs. Oh! I didn't know what he had in the back. That's why I saved up so much energy on my Stunfisk, but it's a Swampert, so this is good. I get the Bug Buzz off because shields are down. I don't think this Hydro will kill, even though I'm in the red, and it doesn't. And I switch, throw the Mud Bomb. If this doesn't kill, I can just throw another one, and it does. And then the Discharge is going to take out the Vigoroth, so this, I believe, is the last match of the second set. Yeah. I have 4,770 Great League wins. I think it's more like 4,800 now. And we get another 4-1. So there's 4-1 number 2. And we're going to get into the last set here. Trevenant lead. Very bad for this team. So I'm just going to safe switch Araquanid. And I'm hard countered. So this is going to be a very tough game. I think the only thing that could really save me is if my opponent is core broken by Noctowl. I just don't see that happening. So let's throw another Bubble Beam. Debuff my opponent's attack. And this is pretty self-explanatory of a switch scenario. I'm just going to throw Bubble Beams till I die. And then I'm going to farm up to 100 energy with the Stunfisk. And then switch into Noctowl for whatever they have in the back. This is how I would play this matchup 100 out of 100 times. I don't care how much energy the Noctowl has, because he's triple debuffed, I think. So like, watch how much this Shadow Ball does. Nothing. It's gonna throw another Shadow Ball. How much is this gonna do? Nothing. And then actually, at this point, I'm gonna save a little bit of energy because Stunfisk isn't that useful, and I just need to get ahead of energy. I just need to get ahead energy on my Noctowl, and it's unfortunately not going to be enough because my opponent has Vigoroth, so all the counter damage and a Body Slam would kill me after the shields go down. So, unfortunate circumstance. I just got completely hard countered there, so not much I could have done at all. Game is over from the start. So, now the tides turn, and my opponent has Macargo lead, which is like that and Alolan Graveler are like the two worst things. The two worst things that actually the two best things that a Stunfisk could see. They hate to see Stunfisk. Stunfisk eats them for breakfast. But my opponent has a Breloom in the back, and I have a Flying type with flying fast moves. So I'm gonna farm it all the way down, let him nuke me down to 1 HP, throw the Shadow Ball on the Macargo, and soak the Overheat, which is interesting. Definitely could have made a case to shield, because the Araquanid Stunfisk core is very good, but my opponent is double weak to a Stunfisk in the back, and this game's over, because I'm going to be able to just rip off all these Mud Bombs, and I think I live to get to a third, but actually my opponent lets it go, and I'm throwing double resisted Bug Bites against this Marowak, but we're going to be getting to Bubble Beams pretty quickly. Going to be able to shield up all these moves by Marowak. He actually went for the Shadow Bone, which makes me think he has Fire Blast. And he leaves, which has been a pretty common theme in this video. My opponent's surrendering, so feels pretty good to have a good set, a good run. And another Macargo lead. And my opponent switches Galvantula. I should have stayed in, but the reason that I came into Noctowl and not stayed in was because the Araquanid can still hit the Macargo for double super effective. My opponent still has to throw a move here on the Galv, and I can either win switch or get shields because he baited me earlier. Now I can come back, Stunfisk, load up a bunch of energy, and then whatever he has in the back, I can just throw stuff at. And with the shield advantage, it's going to be nice. Actually, my opponent's not even going to get to another lunge, which is very helpful for me. And he has Politoed in the back, which means that my opponent is triple or like 2.5 times weak to a UNOVAN Stunfisk. I don't think a lot of people came prepared for UNOVAN Stunfisk in this meta, except for like the people with the Trevenants and Vigoroth, stuff like that. There's been these double rock teams that have been surfacing thanks to Though Tactical and John Kiss, where it's like Tropius or Jumpluff lead with like Macargo in the back, and then either like Alolan Graveler or Alolan Golem or Crustle. And this team, Stunfisk shines against most of those Pokemon, but actually the backline, the rock backline kind of would kill my backline. Having a bug and a flying type, it would be pretty tough. So glad I didn't see any of those teams. I actually played these battles on Wednesday, which was the day that the cup dropped, so maybe this team isn't as effective, just depending on how many double rock teams you're seeing, but I didn't see any and had a lot of success with this team. But I actually did today play my battles. I went, I think I just went 4-0. I played a set. My first game was I had Lickitung, Tropius, and Ninetales, and I just got destroyed because I got hard countered. But then I switched to a Lickitung lead because it's been pretty good. I think I've only seen like 1 or 2 Vigoroth leads the entire time, and other than that, Lickitung has play against pretty much everything, even stuff like Blaziken. It's also going to be weak against the normal flyers, but those aren't as common anymore either with the rise of rock types. So my team has actually been Lickitung and Shadow Swampert and Blaziken in the back. It's been pretty solid. Just weak to stuff like the flying grasses in the back because they can still do work against Blaziken. Like Tropius can still do work against Blaziken. So, you know, that's that. But it's been a pretty good team for me. It's not an ABB team. It's actually a balanced team. So, you always have the possibility of getting hard countered, but there's really just not a lot of teams that are prepared for a Lickitung lead. Most people see them in the back, but with this meta, with Vigoroth being such a good safe swap, I don't really have any desire to use Lickitung in the back, so I just use it in the lead because at worst, it's like a Vigoroth or a normal flyer. Otherwise, it's pretty much going to be neutral against everything else. Speaking of normal flying leads, we see a Pidgeot here. Also something that I don't see very much, but this team would eat Lickitung for breakfast, unless I actually was running Lickitung in the back on this team because his normal flyer and his normal type, his Vigoroth, are already out of play. So maybe he has a Pokemon in the back weak to Lickitung, but I'm not entirely sure. This isn't a Lickitung video, so I'm not sure why I'm talking about it, but I just got my Lickitung kind of built. I best buddied it, and it's like 1467 right now. I still need 3, maybe 4 power-ups to get it to 1490, whatever, but it's still usable. 1467 is still like 96% of what it would normally be. So, I mean, I'll take it, so. And Lickitung is just so strong, so. This battle, though, I'm pretty much just destroying my opponent. We had a U-Fisk into Pidgeot, we had a Araquanid into Vigoroth, and then we had the Noctowl against their Araquanid. So 4-1 for the third set, and I think I climb all the way back up to the 2600s from being back down to the 2400s. I tanked so much after hitting Expert that I'm just having to grind, and the Summer Cup's been really good for that. I've been getting a lot of my elo back, and I think I'm actually back up into the 2700s. So I'm gonna try and push for legend here soon. Maybe I'll do it in the summer cup, but I'm not entirely sure. It's been good to me so far though. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I know I said a lot this video, but I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be making content, even though it's on my own time. I enjoy doing this kind of stuff for you guys. So, but anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.